Chris makes life good anyhow.
I was told, Chris, that I needed to ask you the question that the gentleman I spoke with couldn't answer.
Yeah.
Who was the builder of your home, the first home in that addition?
Oh, yeah, I couldn't answer that, Chris. You should know.
I used to try and keep that on the top of my tongue. I have to think about that just a minute.
Cummins Brothers?
Oh, no,
But
no,
you know who they are, right, Chris? Who Cummins Brothers are?
I've heard of it, yeah.
You're the last, Chris. You gotta remember, you're the last
I
one to
know.
walk the dog.
Yeah, he built most of the homes there. He didn't build all of them, but
Oh, I thought he built all of them.
he didn't build Hobby's house.
Well, he did not build Hobbs's house.
Right. That was
When Bowers, was it?
the guy from Newcastle. He was a big,
Yeah, I don't know.
actually his son or grandson just ran for some kind of political office there last year. If you didn't, I could have looked, I could have. Kind of looked it up.
The only one from over there I know is Larry Hale, RMC Henry County.
Yeah, I don't think these guys build houses anymore.
Yeah.
This guy that was, it seemed, I wanna say it started with a V, but.
Wasn't Harold Frame or anybody like
No,
that?
it was. Yeah, I wish I had that written down somewhere, cause I've tried to, I've had that on my, somebody else asked me that a couple times and I had to do some research to find it out.
Who did this? Robert Leeson. Oh, that was done in the last. Oh, that's a newer, how Becky?
Becky's gonna hide in the back today?
Better back there or your neighbor?
Neighbor.
Well, it's just the beginning steps of that process. Is everybody else saying it?
So the historical.
Jason said he'll be here. I don't know, Chad.
I didn't get a response. He wouldn't have got it until I.
Oh, good point. Now that you said it, I'm wondering.
Jason,
But
so spotted.
Yeah, it was Western Wayne.
Okay.
I tell all my potential scam people that I'm on the way. I'm on the way. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm on the way.
Is someone able to name for me those that are on the BZA currently because Bob dropped off?
He dropped off.
Wes Shepherd. And me and
See this?
No,
Brad Robinson and Rick Cole.
that's nice.
Robertson?
Robinson, Brad Robinson.
Good call. 1, 2, 3, 4, here's the fifth one. Did you get? West.
He,
Chris. All right, great.
Sir? Hey, how are you?
Fine and dandy.
Perfect.
Who's the fifth, Chris?
I'm sorry,
I got Wes, Chris, Brad, Rick, who's the fifth person?
we're going for,
There's only 4.
yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, well, Bob was on it.
Five?
Bob was on it.
Yeah, has he been replaced?
No,
We need 5, don't we?
don't really, you only need 3 if you have a meeting.
Well, that'd be a tiebreaker. Be a tiebreaker. If you got 4, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, 'cause we can do it with 3. We've done it with 3 before, actually.
I'm just,
Yeah,
just tell me who they are. No. I'm fine.
yeah. I don't know who that, I mean, that, I told you everybody it's on it now, so.
Why did Bob have to get off of, oh, Bob moved into that.
Because he moved into town, right?
Yeah.
Because he was on the,
I bet Becky would like to be on that.
Becky's are in town.
You just need one from the 2 Mile Fringe.
You need one.
Probably gotta be me, that, is it playing from outside? Is it playing?
I think so, it's probably you.
Chris doesn't live in town.
Gotta find out, not even the 2 Mile Fringe.
Got
Gotcha on that one.
This is like, we're another meeting.
We got a BTA coming up on November 12th.
It's just one hearing too, right? Just a one.
As of right now.
We had another two on here.
There was to be a second one, but that person's issues have been taken care of.
Okay,
But,
Evan, my neighbor, right?
Yes. That equitable resolution.
Issues, you get a hold of them. You're more thorough than I am, you know, I'm kind of a briefer. A skimmer. Do it today and all, you know, where they know. Bet if I'm, that's right, I'll have it all marked up.
I know, I did.
That was Chris's, I don't know.
Yeah, I want that back.
That's actually Chris's. He'll get you a copy.
Okay.
Are we official yet?
Yeah, we gotta do the pledge here, just like. Okay, let's do the pledge. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag
Of the United States of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This one's a little old man like me, but I'm gonna time to get up.
We didn't meet last month.
We just not had quorum. It already did.
We didn't have, I think that's what it ended up being, yeah. Yeah, so we didn't meet until 10, so. I don't think we really have any minutes. We don't have to prove any minutes because we didn't meet, so.
We got meeting minutes from August though.
Yeah. From the August meeting, yeah, we can approve those, that's right. I'm sorry.
Do we have them? Are they up there?
You know, from the, I.
Then you have a copy or print.
Sean emailed them to you.
I'm sorry.
Send what I emailed.
Let me, did you email me, Sean?
Yeah, I replied back to that same thread.
You're very welcome.
Must be a quicker meeting.
Yes.
If you look through that report, of course, we skipped the meeting, so the black lettering is what I had prepared for the previous meeting, and then the blue is updates from that time.
Oh, I see, okay. Genius. It was a genius movie.
Sure.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Well, apparently the last time I seconded the motion, but I was not present at the meeting.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I mean, obviously I seconded, so it's what I was.
Anyway, you got that. all.
I'll second them again.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We got some new items here from Tom. Looks like they're, well, like this first one, they made some progress, haven't they?
Yeah, he's starting to put the metal on. I saw him yesterday. They got the drip edge along the perimeter. I don't think he realized that it needed drip edge, and he came in and gave me an update, and he was wondering about fasteners and things like that. So I downloaded a print from the manufacturer of the metal, so he had the right fasteners to screw. So he's getting there. He's being earnest about it, and I'm sure he'll get it ready before the snow flies.
Which property is that?
That's the 433 North Elm Street garage. It's a detached two-car garage off the alley.
Right.
The Washington Street, they have replaced the window and they're doing board siding, cutting in some new pieces, so at least there's some visible activity.
Which house is that on the 5 Points?
So if you go out 5 Points where the horse farm is, I think it's Fisher's,
Yeah.
Samuel Fisher's place.
It's a lane, it's always a lane, you can't see this property from the road, right?
Well, you can see the farmhouse but you can't see the silo until.
Silo,
you
that
go
won't be
out
modeled.
and around and back.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I've been out there a couple times and there's no activity, and I haven't heard anything from Steve Sora at the county to indicate that he's noticed anything either, so. Keep an eye on it and see if they try to do anything. And since then, I've had further conversations with Mr. Fisher, who had done the renovation on the silo on another project, so he's been in touch with me and seems to be moving on from.
So the Hagerstown Brewing Company, what's your guesstimate estimate, the way it's moving for?
Sometime mid-April.
Oh,
I can't speculate, it doesn't seem to be moving along very. They have the floor poured, it's flat, they're still trying to get the outside part that was excavated for the sewer line. I guess brought up to where they can put a final grade on it, that's really the only thing I've been noticing going on. The last time I peeked in, they were maybe beginning provisions to hang their exhaust hoods. But there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of noticeable change inside.
Bathrooms aren't going in place or anything,
No walls are built.
no walls at all are built. Soft opening in October is gonna be real soft, isn't it?
You barely know what happened. The change there at Manchester Industries, I spoke to Mrs. Wicks, spoken to her a few different times. And it seems like they're settling on the 45,000 square feet. Seems like Manchester is in agreement with that amount of square footage. She was wanting to get to 50,000 so that then the three sections of the structure would be equal in size. And they ended up at 45,000 square feet.
So they're adding on, is that what you're?
They're adding on, it was initially 4,000 square feet on
That's right.
the east side,
Yeah.
5,000 on the front.
Okay,
But now it's 45,000 on the east side and still 5,000 on the front. I think it's been filed with the state, but not released.
My backyard. Is that on the north side, they put some taller boulders on the south side of the lot there, cause Joel and I were texting back and forth about it. Do you know where it is, Tom?
I'm not for sure on the lot in connection with the existing structure where specifically.
Okay.
I haven't seen any drawings.
Coming up to your front.
That's, yeah, he said on the east side, I'm like, right to my back door.
We'll make sure they stay the proper distance off that property line.
Thank you, thank you.
And keep the fencing good repair.
Yeah, the fence is already fallen over, so
Yeah, it's falling.
Whose fence is that?
I don't know. I
I don't think
don't
it's.
know whose it is.
Most of the property is owned by Wix, so I could venture a bet that it's Wix's fence.
I know someone fixed it down farther to the south. In like early spring, I think this year maybe. And I needed to go down to test the neighbor who we called because it was down in his yard and I know they were calling someone, I just don't know who they ever called. Cause it's down behind my house too.
You know, there's gonna be additional parking lot to that, to additional hard surface or
On Manchester.
Manchester, yeah. Okay.
Are you having concerns, Chris?
I am having some storm drainage concerns out that direction, yeah, because we've already had some IMI into our wastewater treatment out there on the east side. And I'm just concerned if we get a large volume of runoff that comes back at it.
I know in the conversation with Dave Industry, he's planning to swale.
Okay, good, okay.
He's planning what? I'm sorry.
A dry swale
He
or
knows,
some kind of
he
dry
knows the lay of
swale.
that, he knows that, it floods, and he's
Okay.
trying to make a provision
Okay,
to keep that.
good, okay, okay.
And then that part of it'll be, evaluated by the Wayne County, the lady that does the storm.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
On West Clay Street, have you seen any more cleanup with their stuff? I don't think it's on your paper, but
On what?
West Clay,
West Clay with the stuff along the back property line. I haven't taken action on that yet.
okay. Just having several people have asked about it.
Currently, still.
Yeah.
So, and.
Give them a minute,
I had a
it looks
brief
terrible.
discussion with the attorney, John, when he was speaking with town council about some changes in the ordinance. The way the ordinance reads on that particular infraction is the fine schedule starts off at like $1,500.
Holy
Or
wow.
500 and then 1,500 and then 2,500. It's incredibly expensive.
Oh,
And, it's the first day, it's this much. The second day, it's almost double.
Wow.
Third day.
We're
And
serious
then
about
in
garbage.
another ordinance, it talks about the fining and the language says up to a certain amount of money, but it doesn't say that on the ordinance and stuff. Like your.
So are you getting compliance at all from the resident there or?
So they have removed the vehicle, they haven't removed some articles, but it still looks trashy back there, at least it's not right up on the street.
Yeah.
So I don't know what my problem is. Trying to resolve that. I kind of hate to go at them and then say, well, this is what the ordinance says I have to do. I'm gonna threaten you with a $1,500 fine tomorrow if it's not gone.
Right.
I just can't do that.
I think that's
Okay.
that's a reasonable thing, yeah.
I guess you could say, if I have to come back again, the fine's gonna be,
Yeah, I suppose I could
X amount of
arbitrarily
dollars.
reduce that, but that's contrary to what the
Yeah.
ordinance states. I mean, give me some ideas. What do you want me
Well,
to do?
was John gonna redo that?
That's what I was about to ask.
I think he was gonna take a look at that. You need to email to be sure that he does before he finishes what he's already working on.
I don't know if you can see it real well, but that was the,
oh, man,
sort of what that.
whoa. That's a big pile of junk right there.
And to be fair, it's challenging to step into that when there are others that have certain positions within the township government, town government that seem to struggle with the same issue.
Well, just put it on everybody.
What did I say? Yeah, well,
I mean, was that a question?
yeah, like what are you talking about?
Well, the council president, if you go drive by his place, he's got old mattresses and stuff around his garage and weeds growing up and. I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I agree.
I mean, just,
Well, I think how you probably process that, I would think appropriately would be, I mean, do we have a list?
outside conversation.
Well, I'm gonna say like, do we have a list of homes that, you know, are,
I do not have
Are issues?
put together of all of the ones that appear from the street to have an issue. I do not have that.
Is that enforcement, is that his responsibility or HPD?
It seems like everybody's pushing everything to him.
and I think
Seems like
that, I
that
think,
used to be HPD that did that.
They've convinced the town council. Him being one of them, it ain't convinced me, but they've convinced,
well, I think John even, we talked about this at the last meeting, and I think John had even said that the way he was understanding it was that the grass belonged to Julie, which he ends up still taking care of.
Well, I make the list, take the pictures and give the list to Julie.
Yeah.
He does the mailing and takes it from there.
Yeah, the abandoned vehicles fell on the police department, and then everything else, you know, the miscellaneous other falls on him. Which I think, I mean, if the, you know, the opinion is that the council disagrees with that or agrees with them, I think it's something that still needs to be addressed, and we've got properties that look like crap around town.
Tom, I would say just use your best judgment on it. It shouldn't be $1,500, but you know, I mean, if you say, hey, you know, if it's not cleaned up in a week, it's gonna cost you $50. And they push back on it, we can say, well, he was pretty nice to you because it really should have been 1,500. So I mean, as long as you don't go above 1,500, I think now I would be consistent with it. You don't do one guy that, and then if you don't like another guy, you hit him harder. I mean,
And maybe even create like your own little, fine schedule, if you will, of, I know that the first offense is, I'm gonna stick with this amount, second offense is this amount, third offense, and I'm sure we have ordinances that you could probably look at that could probably mimic that. So then if you're ever asked, you can say,
Sure.
I have this here.
There are some residents that only respect arresting authority. I mean, he can try to put any kind of fine on them when he wants to, and they still won't, and be like, ha, and
They'll
it's.
find out when they get a lien on the property.
If they're a renter, though, because I'm thinking of one situation we had here, 2 houses north of the rendezvous, where the gal kept throwing her trash into the barn behind there. And Keith had to get there and have a screaming match with her to get her to clean it up. I mean, it was a downright, I'm gonna
Yeah.
arrest you, I'm gonna haul you off the bail to get you to
Right.
clean it up.
I would say those could be case by case basis,
It
maybe.
might need to. be.
Like, if like that guy becomes a jerk, maybe talk to Keith and say, hey, next time you go here with me and, maybe he can, say, hey, listen, this dude's in his right. You're in violation of the ordinances and this is what's gonna happen.
I think most property owners will, be like,
Right.
I'm gonna put $1,000 lien on my property, if you don't get it cleaned up today, but some of these renters that are kind of shady and fly by night. I just don't know.
Do we have like contact information for the landlords when they,
We do, but.
The property card would show the owner.
Yeah, we do, but some of them are out of state and,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or just mailing it.
exactly, it's just a mailing address, so.
I did have one property owner on Clay Street when I approached the 3 residences that had occupants on the weeds and the overgrowth in the alleyway. And I explained that, if you can't do it or you can't find someone to do it, he's an older guy, probably has some disabilities. And he said, well, what will happen? I said, well, the town will cut it, they'll assess your property with a lien for the cost of whatever it took to take care of it. He says, well, that's fine with me, because I'm not gonna live that much longer. It's been off my nose,
yeah,
and that was his response.
Well, as long as it got cleaned up though, we just put the lien against it,
Yeah.
it's no skin off our nose.
That's true.
As long as it gets done. I mean, when he dies, they'll have,
Someone will have to clear.
somebody have, the kids or whoever buys it, or somebody's gonna have to clean up the lien, that's just it. It's-
Okay,
Oh, Tom, I'm gonna back up what I said. Why don't you make a schedule of what you think is a fair fine schedule for that?
okay.
If you can email it to me before the council meeting, I'll try to sit down with John before then and see if he can't bring it to council meeting for
Okay.
approval.
For that particular infraction,
Yeah, for garbage or
rubbish,
trash,
whatever happens.
garbage, trash or whatever it is.
Okay.
There's,
So,
even 1,500 is a little sticky, but we,
But when we wrote those with the intent of the flexibility to do the inspector's office,
yeah.
right?
Well, you can go up to 1,500. I don't have a problem with leaving the upper end of that.
yeah, I think it would be nice to leave it at that, up to this amount, but I think a fine schedule would be important to have because what happens when he goes and writes one person a ticket for $500 because he can, and he goes and writes someone else a ticket for 50 because he can. There needs to be some consistency to that.
and have a law enforcement officer that discretion. I mean, if you get someone that wants to go along and do what they need to do, be respectful and all that, they get the bare minimum. If they want to act a fool, then it's all the way up to maybe we'll just take it in.
Well.
Yeah,
the
like
other
first
thing
offense,
is-
second offense, third offense kind of.
Yeah.
First, second, third offense. That's what,
Yeah.
so we can,
I think if we start getting up to a second, third, or fourth offense, then I think we need to have arrangements where the law enforcement goes with you and say, listen, this is where we're at.
The town shows up with a dump truck and some help and puts them all in the dump truck and takes them to the dump truck.
This thing's can get pretty ouchy here pretty quick.
Okay.
One thing Tom was asking for too, I mean, plan commission, we had the 2 Mile Fringe. Tom and the rubbish, and I'm thinking down on South Washington Street, and this, whose house I'm probably talking about. And I know you have had conversations with that property owner before. Is that still okay? I mean, for Tom, or does he need to be within the town limits on that stuff?
With my understanding, I don't have any authority outside of the town limits
Yeah, I think
For
that's
that.
what I heard too.
For that issue, okay.
So goes the county.
See, that's,
I would assume. Unless the county has already said, not our problem.
Yeah. You didn't want to do.
But I wouldn't think so.
just always kind of a little bit of a gray area there, you know, if they're outside of the 2 mile fringe, you can kind of.
So I know when it comes to like the policing side of things is if it's outside of that limit, 2 mile fringe don't mean nothing. That's a county issue.
Correct, yeah.
Anything else on that until we get down to the bottom of that second page?
Did, I know the last meeting, and it's noted here as we talked about the sidewalk by the high school, had a bunch of overgrowth. What did we end up doing on
I
that?
had Brett just go and clear that out or try to,
Yeah.
I mean, she just took it back enough. I mean, she didn't.
Right,
cut it
it's a
off
lot
like
better.
10 foot or anything, but made it at least.
You don't have to dodge the
And walk through it now.
briars and the brambles to get through there.
The one ornamental grass is in the county. Are we talking about the intersection,
You're back over at James Road, aren't you?
or
You're at James Road.
Jones Road, is that what we're talking about?
No.
We're
Going
talking
out on the way to the high school.
Yeah,
Sidewalk.
the sidewalk there on Maple Road. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, the kids would have to walk around in the grass to school, but yeah. Sometimes, I feel a little sketchy at that spot on Jones Road. It's beautiful grass, but
Yeah.
It's making me
not a
nervous.
good place.
Then did you have a conversation with the guy with the shed, not shed, but the big outbuilding down here?
Yes, I've been down there, I've done, essentially a final inspection. There are 3 or 4 outstanding issues. Nothing huge. I expect to do a final in the next week or 2. He was supposed to have his concrete approach aprons poured last week, but the guy put him off, so hopefully next week it is gonna fall into place, but he's close to getting the concrete poured. The alleyway poured back in, which has gone way too long to have steel plates over a hole in the public alley. But once he gets that concrete done and the interior things, so relatively minor things, I'll sign off on as the final inspection is approved. And he knows, he has the understanding that this is supposed to be for residential use.
Thank you.
Sure.
So. Well. So I gotta, so Tom, you made a comment, once you get to 2 mile fringe, then it doesn't fall under your jurisdictions. You're talking about the yard waste and stuff like that, not building and the construction.
Right, now if someone wanted to start a salvage yard on their property, that could be a zoning issue,
Okay, I just wanted to be,
but there's trash and stuff.
yeah, I just wanted to understand.
Unsightly issues, so not really. They did get their electric turned back on.
Who did?
The owner or the people that are living with that address, I think it's 770 Washington Street or something. She was there for. I did do a reconnect with Seth and it's been turned back on to her house.
On paragraph 3, complaints Harrison, I haven't seen any progress on,
They haven't touched it, as far as you know.
They emptied it out.
Did they, you know, yeah, well, that's a good start. And so in the conversation with Shannon, or whatever his name is,
Okay,
yeah, Shane, I don't know what the solution is to try to shore it up, or somehow try to stabilize it, but that's not a long-term fix. And he's clear that the structure has to come down. And in the conversation, he has a friend that comes up here occasionally from the Carolinas that's in the construction business. At some point in the relatively recent past, they've looked at that and discussed how they might be able to get that down prior to me making contact with them. So he's kind of got feelers out to come up with a solution. But the short up or somehow try to stabilize it is just a very short-term thing until they figure out a way financially to get that thing taken down. And it won't be long that I'm gonna set a time limit. I guess I'll need to go before the unsafe building committee and say this structure is a problem, we need to put a timeline on it and make it official. So that'll happen within the next short period of time. Good to know they emptied it. It's good to know they emptied it.
So we're supposed to read the act number 105 and bring back.
Not necessarily, but I just made a few copies and, so this is relatively new news to me and, the front page really doesn't apply to us, but if you go to the second page, it's highlighted there. And it says that section 2 is added to the Indiana code. It's a new section. And it's concerning the immunity of a unit, which would be a unit of government such as Hagerstown, and employees for building plan reviews and inspection services by private providers. The gist of this is that in some areas, construction is going so strongly that the local government unit is unable to satisfy the inspection requirements at the rate that the buildings are being built. And so it's holding up progress. Things aren't getting inspected because the builders are just going on because there's big money involved. You get over towards Indianapolis and surrounding areas where construction is just going crazy if you drive over there. So this bill is allowing a contractor to, at the initiation of the permit process, basically state that we are going to hire our own plan review and we're going to hire our own inspectors to inspect our projects because we're unable to get our needs met in a timely fashion with your government agency. That's going to be legal.
That's not good.
That's not good.
Those that do those inspections are going to be required to have the proper certification, ICC certification of plan review, residential construction, so on and so forth. They're going to have to carry a legitimate certificate, and it cannot be a home inspector. Home inspectors are not allowed to make the inspections that this allows, because they apparently don't feel that their training is significant to look at new construction and confirm that it's adequate. In our situation, that's not a problem. It gives guidelines on our process of issuing permits, reviewing plans, scheduling permit or inspections. It's pretty detailed as you get through there. And all of this needs to be available. Basically, the communication part of it needs to be able to be done electronic, not have to walk in the door, have to make a phone call and say, hey, I need this inspection, but online. And when I say, and it initially concerned me, so I reached out to Aaron Gordon, who is the former Richmond building commissioner. He just recently left Richmond as building commissioner and went to Cumberland, the town of Cumberland, and he's their building commissioner over there. And he said electronically can mean as simple as email. You don't have to have a program or a system to there's lots of companies out there that want to sell you software to do permitting and inspections and tracking and all that. He says that's not necessary. Electronically can be as simple as email, but there's some things that need to be laid out in the office. The process, the details of it, and those details are laid out in this act as to what it needs to be. And what information we need to be able to, acquire and confirm and all that type of thing. So it's something new to me. I'm gonna be working through it, trying to figure out, how we can be compliant. And, stay in the good graces of the state and anyone that wants to come in here and try to build something. This is specifically for class 2 structures. Not commercial buildings, not industrial buildings. Class 2 is defined as 1 and 2 family dwellings and townhouses. Townhouses are considered a single family dwelling because they are essentially isolated residences, but connected together. There's fire barriers, so if I'm right on that, Chris, a townhouse falls under class 2 construction,
Right. Anything up to 3 dwellings.
up to 3 connected dwellings. So it's something new.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
You're welcome.
Looks like interesting reading.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you're just trying to get to sleep.
Tom, have you been in the grocery store lately?
No, I try to avoid it.
The last time I was in there, there were a bunch of wires, electrical wires hanging from the ceiling.
Okay.
I thought you might want to know that.
It looks like they're trying to close out the furthest west section, and squish everything back to the east, doesn't it, Jason? I mean,
Yeah.
Almost cut it in half.
It looks like they're trying to get by with about half the space.
That's for your electric vehicle, cars.
Your electric car,
You charge it up.
Charge it up.
Your electric shopping cart?
I just walked among the wires thinking, I hope these aren't live.
I did have a discussion with the owner, it's been several months back. And he was asking questions about subdividing that space because he's realized he doesn't need that much space and he could subdivide it and have 1 or 2 additional rental spaces. And I told him that because you would have more than 100 lineal feet of wall, it would need to have a construction design release, plans reviewed by the state and released before you could do that, which would cover proper exits and all of everything that goes with that. And I never heard anything further from him. I'll check into it. The last time I went in there and the peanut butter they had for sale that was expired, I decided to.
There's a lot of expired items in there.
So just one other point, I know it's budget time. I don't know if there's been any discussion on the building commissioner's employment or anything about that. I know when, employment status or compensation or anything, since the budget's coming down to the wire. But I know that, Donnie asked early on, well, how long? And I said, well, a year. So we're at 10 months. Just put that out there. That's all I'm gonna do.
What are you asking?
Hmm?
I said, what are you asking?
What am I asking?
Yeah.
To consider if this budget would need to have some sort of provision related to the compensation of the building commissioner's job.
Decrease or increase?
He'd like a raise.
Well,
He's
Well,
been a
I
busy
think-
man, he's been a very busy man.
How many hours do you work right now?
it's a 29-hour-a-week job.
And I think we had discussions about maybe changing hours, increasing it. If,
And I'm not necessarily saying
I believe it's already been addressed in the general budget anyhow. How's that?
There you go.
But the hours, we do need to, yeah, there does
Yeah.
need to be some discussions on.
That's it. Thank you so much. You know, I was always told if it wasn't worth asking about, it wasn't worth doing.
Thought he was asking if we were getting rid of him.
No.
Yeah, you know, that building commissioner job over in Richmond's looking pretty sweet.
But,
Actually, it's,
their problems aren't compared to,
they got bigger problems than we do.
I don't, I don't have any, evidence other than the things that people, you mentioned to me. Next to the beauty salon, there is a space that used to be a restaurant,
The beauty salon.
next to the grocery store.
Oh,
Beauty salon.
Right, so, people say, I think there's people living in there.
That's what I've heard that too.
So when you've got the restaurant on the east end, you're talking about the grocery store.
Right,
Yeah, then the beauty shop.
So it was Lydia's.
yeah, that was many moons ago.
Many moons ago,
Yeah.
Lydia's
And Becker's,
and Becker's.
right,
And so in between those two spaces is a space you think?
no, but in the restaurant. it has
Yes.
Right, the food truck, yeah,
For a long, quite a while.
yeah,
I don't know if there's still, I don't know if there's still people trying to live there or not.
I don't know, I just thought it was.
with or without permission?
Pardon?
Is it with or without permission?
Well, it would be a zoning thing, I would.
I don't.
Right, but I'm trying to figure out, like,
Did
is-
anybody ever ask?
Like, are they allowing them to live there?
But yeah, I don't know if
Or
you're
is-
allowing it or it is happening or.
I think from a utility standpoint, we tried to look at the usage there at one time, and at one time, it's been probably 3 years ago, it did look like it could have possibly been someone there, but I don't think the recent utilities indicated there being living there.
Yeah, it's kind of,
Unless they're really dirty, yeah. Not getting any water, sewage consumption.
This is going over to the grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
So I do know from experience in Richmond, there were occasions and probably still are where people that are operating convenience store gas stations essentially are living in those.
in the back.
in the
Mhm,
back,
yeah.
With little beds and little kids,
Mhm.
and I've seen that for myself, and it's just kind of it's our situation.
Maybe, so work with Keith on that one.
Pardon me?
Maybe work with Keith on that one.
Okay.
I'll recheck on utilities too, we'll just see here in recent months if there's been anything, but the last time I elected it.
And surely the whole building has heat or your water lines would freeze, so that, I don't know how that tenant space is subdivided and how many meters there are, but I'll try to keep an eye on that and see if I can't have a conversation while I'm addressing these free hanging wires from the ceiling.
If there's, I haven't been in a little for a while, but I just thought, well,
Big freaking, yeah, the
I
wire.
wanted to bring it up at the last meeting.
I think we covered a lot here so far. I don't know if anybody else has any more business they want to talk about.
I was just gonna add that a couple of years ago, we started these biography signs and we started out with 6 and then we added a 7th one, which was Ray Sharp out at the park, and the park, because the Parks Board has asked me to do one for Billy Imel, and he is someone, he's the person that basically contributed all the money to the park to get it started once, so I donated it over to the town. And so I'm working on, we've got a biography for him. And while I'm at it, I thought there were a couple more interesting people to add. Johnny Horry is one, I don't know if any of you are familiar with him, but he was a boot black or a shoe shine, that essentially traveled all over the world, just a really interesting biography. If you ever have a chance to read that, I'll email these out to you all to read. And another one was Edward Black, who was the youngest soldier ever to serve in the US military, and he was an 8-year-old drummer boy and enlisted in the Union Army during the Civil War.
He's buried in Indianapolis now.
Yeah, and he was born here in Hagerstown, so I think that's another one. So there's those 3 that I'm going to do biography signs on, and then Joe Smith has been giving me a couple other names of people we might want to look into as well. So, and cumulatively, my goal is to, by the time we have our bicentennial in a couple of years, do some kind of a book or coloring book or something, it has all of the biographies in it, and I think that'll be interesting, so that's kind of where this is all headed towards, so.
Very good.
Do you want to mention, or you want me to mention the scout that contacted the office regarding putting some sort of a directory out of the park? Did you get that email?
I did get it, and that needs to go to Parks Board, but yeah, you can mention it here, mention it.
So a young scout contacted us and he's interested in a project, what's the highest level of scout?
Eagle.
Eagle Scout, he's working on his Eagle Scout. And his idea was to put together some sort of a signboard or display. And he specifically mentioned out at the park, speaking at the one across the tracks.
Mhm.
And so, speaking with Chris, the guy, you need to talk to the park superintendent about that. But in the conversation responding to him, I said, there's also a park right across the street here. And there's also an airport that occasionally has a fly-in and guests from out of town. And so, you might consider there might be 3 locations that something would be appropriate. And, so I gave him the contact information for the people that would need to get with him to figure out if that's something that's doable or not. Young, excitable young man.
What kind of display? What kind of display?
Speaking about, like a downtown directory of businesses and historic buildings, kind of things that would be of interest to someone,
The airport may be best for something like that.
museum and, different things. So
Airport or this one, I would say.
The thing I would say on that is, I've been involved in some of these Eagle Scout things. They're always a great idea going in. Whose responsibilities are they after the event? Who keeps them up? Who makes sure they're updated, make sure that they're functional? Because a lot of times they get the project done, they get the Eagle Scout badge, and then they walk away, and then you're stuck with it. So, I mean, we need to make sure that. I mean, I don't care that they do it, but I think, I would honestly tell you that I think it's in the park's best interest. If they want them to do it, then they need to decide how the park's gonna keep them from that point on, because he's gonna grow up, he's gonna go to college, he's gonna end up in California working for an IT company. And you know what?
I think the answer is simple. I think we just pass it down to the younger scouts.
That. I say that has to be, I mean, that's up to you, that just has to be a part of the responsibility when it's given, and then they gotta accept that. If they say, no, we're not gonna take that responsibility.
Well, you could also consider it to be, if you could require them to design it to sustain exposure to the elements, if it's something outside,
Right.
to last for 3 to 5 years. And if it gets to the point that it can be done away with, it doesn't mean it has to be permanent.
That's
It
absolutely.
doesn't have to be sustained in forever. If it works out, and people, if you can tell as a town that people are using it and it's doing some good, then it might be worth maintaining, continuing on, redesigning, whatever it takes to make it current. And I have to argue against, so Michael Bain, from Greensport, Kurt Bain and Liz Bain's boy, I don't know if you know them. But he's an Eagle Scout. He went to Purdue. He graduated Purdue in forestry services. And he has a great job doing forestry work in the state of Indiana.
But I'm gonna disagree. Does he live in Greensport?
I don't know if he does or not. but Jack knows too.
I don't know if he lives in Greensport.
I'll check on that.
He does.
I believe he probably does, It's just a great kid. Real solid young man.
One other thing I was going to mention, Historic Hagerstown, and you might have seen this, has come up with a walking tour brochure of Hagerstown, which is pretty cool. I'm not saying that very many locations, I think the original intent was for them to be on display for people to get it really in red. I don't know if we we do have a budget for plan commission. I think it would be a nice gesture if we would offer some money towards printing these brochures, because Historic Acres Town basically has nothing to operate off of. I don't know if that would be something that you think would be a good idea or not, and if so.
I do.
Change that
How
front
much?
page, that makes me dizzy, the print.
Looking
front
at
page,
this all, yeah.
It's got me really messed up. And I just had my eye checked up there. I got eyeballs. They told me I did. Yeah.
So it's a prerequisite that they have to turn the picture.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like all the rest of it, that kind of hits.
It does throw you off right off.
Yeah.
You just leave the picture and
So
slide it over and turn the text.
Yeah.
I think that would be the best of it, yeah, it just.
It's a lot of size.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, yeah. It's pretty well done, I really.
Yeah, it's cool.
I don't know if anyone wants to throw out a dollar amount, $100, Brian, you're not here.
For
For like a donation for printing or.
Exactly. If they get the front fixed, I would tell them,
$500.
what, I was gonna say up to $250, anything, I mean. If they try to tell them, I'm gonna fall over looking at that. It's my boss.
I mean, typically you're gonna get better prices the more you buy, so
Yeah,
they can buy however many they think.
I mean, if they say that they need a little bit more, I mean,
Do you want us to do that by consensus then, or do you think we need to vote on it?
I make a who's doing it,
Historic Acres.
I'll make a motion that we, get them, or donate $250 towards the printing of their brochures, the walking tour brochure.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Uh,
I didn't say I, but I meant to. Before we get out of here, it's kind of new business, but it's just something I want to throw out there to get on our radar. And it's about data centers. New Carlisle, despite the citizens of New Carlisle being vehemently against the data center, got the data center anyway. And water tables, the groundwater, and electricity, everybody pays for the electricity. The data center doesn't. Data centers do not bring but maybe 30 jobs to a community. And usually those people come work at the data center, probably aren't even from the community, right? And the amount of noise pollution that they make is horrendous. Some people have like over 100 decibels in their home from this thing humming 24/7. And they burn natural gas 24/7, so the pollution rate goes up. But they have to use a lot of water to keep it cool, and so they're just starving these communities of water. The Michigan City town or city council was approached to have a data center, and people wanted to show a video about the New Carlisle disaster. They wouldn't let it be shown at the council meeting. And even though the majority of the community did not want the data center in Michigan City, they got a data center in Michigan City. Currently, and this is all the power of AI, it's difficult to trace who owns it, but it usually goes back to Zuckerberg and Bezos and Musk in some form. And there's a lot of money. There's millions and millions of dollars to be had with all of this. And it wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't the greasing of the palms for these councils to say yes. Well, they're currently proposing one for Frankfort, Indiana, to go next to the Frito-Lay on 800 acres. It's going to be huge. And I'm just saying, the time may come when we're approached in the 2 Mile Fringe to build a data center to help support artificial intelligence, and we have to say no.
Isn't it Isn't there a Knightstown proposal?
Yeah, Henry County's got
County's
real big.
yeah, fighting right now.
Yes, it's coming this way.
Yeah, and it's a nasty,
Was it?
it's a nasty fight right now.
Wasn't it Henry?
I think it's Henry,
Yeah.
yeah.
About 8 miles from where I grew up in Carlisle.
Hey, Jason, I know there's a huge water consumption. Does that water then have to be treated or what happens to it? I mean, I know it's just.
Well,
filling.
I don't know every last detail, and I'll send out an email, because there's a couple of really good videos on Carlisle and Michigan City off of YouTube. I'll put links into those videos in an email I'll send to the group. And in some cases, a Google Center was going in and, they're just emptying the aquifer so they could get, poor foundations. And people's water started tasting funny and all kinds of, I mean, it's just a horrible thing.
So what you're suggesting, I mean, if you wanna get ahead of it, plan commission needs to come up with an ordinance for the town and 2 Mile Fringe where they don't allow data centers to come in
Yes,
and be pretty specific, and then you gotta get it to town council and they gotta vote it in if that's.
I strongly
If that's-
suggest we do that.
I guess what you gotta see is, do we have natural gas lines close to us? Cause they're gonna crop on top of the natural gas.
Didn't John say something about something similar at our last meeting when he was talking about that they were getting their own natural gas and I feel like he was,
They're popping on natural gas lines.
yeah,
There's natural gas lines all over, and Indiana has several of them.
yeah, I feel like John was just started talking about this. I know he's involved in Henry County pretty heavily, so I think.
You know what, you work on your deal, and I think I know somebody that can, tell me where the natural gas lines are. I think I can.
Hmm.
Well, there's one, it may not be in service that runs right through town. The Sohio line comes from the northeast right across town. Right on south. On the map.
Then you got one.
Now,
Right through the Northwood edition.
Then you know you got one.
I saw a picture among a collection that I have that I inherited. The town threw a parade, Hagerstown threw a parade because they found natural gas east of town.
Well, then they'll, the only way you can't get behind it, you gotta get in front of it.
That's right.
So if that's something that.
And, and they'll wanna throw millions of dollars at the town, say, hey, we're gonna give you $10 million to do this or do that. And people are like, yeah, that'd be great. But it's blood money. And we should never accept it, or we should never say yes, because our cost of living is gonna go up. Because even though, they're making, hundreds of millions of dollars, with their companies. And, they don't cover the enormous amount of power, the cost of the power that it takes to run the data centers, and it falls on the residents every single time.
And I think the electric issue was what Henry County was dealing with too. It was like several hundred,
The discussion I saw were about the water,
was it?
but I mean, that was, I can't remember.
I think that it has also been a component in our electric, capacity rates.
Yeah, see that, when Chris and I have to go negotiate our electric rates and, are we gonna lock in this MISO and all that nonsense? The wild card out there that they keep throwing at us is, all this AI is gonna gobble up all electricity. And we're gonna be living by gas lights again. And kerosene lights and lanterns in our houses because they're gonna suck it all up. And I'll make a comment, I agree, but your comment was correct, but it's the only way, and if they don't do it that way, we'll just be living in the dark. The only way they can run those things are with, nuclear or natural gas. You can't put enough renewable energy up that will be consistent enough. So what'll happen is you'll have a distribution center, and then for the next 50,000 acres, it'll just be solar and wind trying to feed the one thing. I mean, you just can't do it enough. So the most efficient way to do it is natural gas. And luckily, natural gas is really pretty clean. Matter of fact, it's very clean. Nuclear is probably the only thing cleaner.
Well, that's neither here nor there for me. I just don't want a data center period.
Yeah, but, so, you really gotta get in front of it. I mean, it's like the chicken houses. Okay, Sean was here for the chicken houses. I mean, okay, once you start getting them built, okay, you can't say, oh, I'm gonna throw an ordinance in and stop the thing, okay? Now,
I think the difference, I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure data center is not explicitly called out in our zoning,
right,
but logically, I would say that's not agricultural, which is what the majority of our open land is zoned. So I think that,
the trouble is agriculture is probably the most lenient of what they will allow in it. We probably need to look at what is allowable on agriculture.
I mean, when you look at
Yeah, it's
true, I agree.
Yeah.
But I mean, industrial is where all the,
You would also require annexation to get down, yeah. It would be complex.
yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying we don't do anything, but I'm saying I think
I do,
somewhat protected from
I-
longevity from our zoning.
I do like what you're saying though, but we do need to look at the uses for agriculture, because some of them in agriculture is pretty broad. You know, and then it just takes a good attorney to twist it, that it fits.
Yeah, but I agree. I think we need to move on it now.
Well, and so reading at least this news article, they started in Hancock County and then they went to Henry after they got voted no. Said a project was once poised for Hancock County with the same developer, Surge Development withdrew the proposal in May. Now they've set their sights here, claiming they have yet to pick a technology company to move into the building to ensure zoning is strict. The developer claims it will allow the community to have a say in the commitments without influence from a big company. They said they're bringing their own power, and that's why they try to focus on locating next to a natural gas pipeline. So the assumption would be if they went to Hancock, got told no, they go to Henry and they end up getting told no.
We're next.
People are trying coming this way.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised.
The whole AI thing, we could talk about it forever, but, I heard an expert interviewed the other day. He made a statement that was frightening. He said if AI continues to expand at the rate that it is, and it will probably keep just doubling and tripling, that he believes that a kid born today is more likely to die as a result of AI than to graduate high school. Now, that could be outlandish. But even Elon Musk years ago said AI could be the death of humanity, but now he's all behind it because there's money to be made. We need to get ahead of it, and we need to make sure that it never happens to us. That's all I had to say about that.
And it's a 585 acre data center.
And they just hum and hum and hum.
You don't have a greater say, you're going to be 100 million.
Well, that's where they get people. They're like, we're gonna buy your property.
Basically,
for-
it's living at on the island.
They want to, they can move out of the community and go.
Don't know if any of you have ever lived near the high power, the high tension line, transmission lines, the steel tower.
You can hear them.
And depending, on the humidity as to how much they sing.
Crackle, yeah.
You can see them spark in the dark.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird.
Running around the insulators, so. We've belonged to the International Association of Electrical Inspectors, and their Indiana chapter meets in Lafayette, and we've got inspectors from northern Indiana. One of them's soon to retire from the fire department up there, that's also an inspector and attends the meetings. And the last two meetings, he's talked about the data center that's going in up there. Just this phenomenal amount of batteries, like small batteries, like millions, to be able to provide the backup in case there's a power failure. You have to have that immediate power available while there's a transition from one source to another. like a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply. And they achieve that with banks and banks and banks.
Lithium-ion
of
batteries.
Just to give them that extra 12 seconds
Which,
to switch.
Are you talking about the one that's going outside of Frankfurt or different area?
Well, Frank, we meet in Lafayette, but this one's up in Northwest Indiana. So it might be the.
That's New Carlisle.
Yeah, New Carlisle,
Okay, that's.
yeah,
So for you to take it
and
from,
the residents.
to take the council, you need a recommendation from the
Well,
commission.
I feel so bad. for
Yeah,
them.
that'd be.
Yeah.
We'll buy a 2-mile
And
room.
then they might
Some of
select
these
us
people
and tell them
have
stay
money
with
to
you.
lose.
They don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah,
They can't afford
they're
it.
good,
Yeah, I mean,
good, hardworking people.
Yeah.
cause it normally comes back to the town council just as a vote.
It would ultimately,
Yeah, I think they'll throw it back to us to get it.
Yeah, we proposed the
yeah.
zoning and wording
Yeah, the
to
wording,
council.
yeah, the key is the wording, yes, we're responsible for the proposal and the wording. That's right.
Yeah, we better do it yesterday.
Well, I think Sean's got a good point. We need to look at the agriculture thing and see what it does say. Because A2 does pretty well surround us, A1 and A2.
Yes.
So, you know, if the verbiage in there would not allow it, then we're pretty safe.
I think we need to be very specific. I think we need to specifically put data centers in our language, so they have these corporate attorneys have no way to wriggle around it. We need to specifically ban data centers in our 2-mile frontage.
I think if I got this right. So our BZA that's coming up is A2 property and the gentleman wants to operate a construction business on his A2 parcel.
Mhm.
And it's not allowed.
Right.
So that's how tight the A2
Yeah,
is.
that's what I
Yeah,
said.
that's what I'm saying. And I think it's actually written, like the fact that data center isn't in there is probably a good, because I think it's inclusive. It says A2, you may have bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. List out the thing.
Special exception, you can, I mean, there's a list of special exceptions. as
Yeah,
well
but
as-
if it's not on that list,
It's
then it
not.
wouldn't require BZA approval.
I think it would be worthwhile if somehow somebody, I'm probably just volunteering myself, to talk to some people in these communities and where they lose legally. Right? How did they worm around?
Well, here's how you worm around it. You got 4 BZA members, you just give each $1 million and then make it an exception. And there you
Well, as I
go.
said, there's usually the times that. Yeah.
That's how you read the
Hancock County and
record.
see how.
Someone.
Yeah.
And
You know, it kind of concerns me though, that we have a stretch of land between I-70 and our 2-mile fringe that is controlled by the county. You know, it's not controlled by us in any way.
They could put it right there, and you don't have any say in it.
Yeah.
And we still get done.
Where I was going with that on the A2 thing is if you had it written into the ordinance specifically that it can't even come before the BZA.
Oh, there you go.
That's a good idea.
I mean, just completely block it. It's not up for discussion. It can't come to the BZA. It's
Yeah.
absolute.
It's not included.
I like it.
Sounds good.
I would say we need to all look at A1 and A2 and read it and see what the exceptions are and what the best way to. I don't think we have to rewrite it, we just need to maybe add it, or get a little bit more clarification.
There are a handful of things that are listed as not negotiable. Line feeding operation.
Right. That was-
This is one of them.
That was what we did.
Yeah, we did, yeah, that's what the chicken thing got,
Yeah.
we eliminated, that, not even an exception that can be made. But you had to do that after the fact, after someone's up, like I said, you can't get ahead of it, you gotta be ahead of it, you can't get behind it. I make a motion to adjourn. Oh, you got something else.
Since November is our next meeting, do we do the pizza thing next meeting? We get everybody to.
I second. It's like on pizza.
Okay, no, so that will be the
So does the pizza come here or? do
Yeah.
we go
Yeah,
there?
the pizza comes here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean,
we got that passed real quick.
yeah,
Put it on what side, yeah.
Now we can have a motion, just make sure that everybody knows that for next time. For our last meeting in November.
When's the third Tuesday? Is that right before Thanksgiving? Do we?
Not this.
No, I think
Week before.
Thanksgiving's not till the fourth.
Okay, that's good.
18.
Now I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Dylan, I need to see you to be late.
Yeah, let me turn this off.
Thanks to you all.
All right, thank you, John.
Oh,
Hope you get that raise. You deserve it.
You do.
And another day.
You deserve it.
Hey, thank you.